Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Subscribe and give this video a like.
Also, check out our podcast below in the description.
All right, John. PFF did projections for the 32 projected starting quarterbacks for this season, and using some of last year's numbers, but also some modeling that will help them project beyond just looking at last year's numbers. Here's what they came up with. This is the top 5, and you can see they have their projected ranking, the chance that they'll be the best, the chance that they'll be top 5, the chance that they'll be top 10, and the chance they'll be top 16. As you can see, Patrick Mahomes has a 0% chance of being among the worst 5 quarterbacks in the league. And then we'll get down to the next group here. Lamar Jackson. You can see he's got a 6% chance of being the best quarterback in the league, a 29% chance of being top 5. And then we go down to the bottom there, 12th. Jimmy Garoppolo, who they project to be the 12th best quarterback in the NFL this year. The chance of being the best quarterback in the league, 2.5%. The chance of being a top 5 quarterback, 16%. And the chance of being a top 10 quarterback is 35%, which is better than Dak, who's just ahead of him, the same as Phillip Rivers, the same as Ben Roethlisberger, and just behind Deshaun Watson.
Where, just so we're on the same page, where would you have had him at the end, the conclusion of the Super Bowl, based on his 2019 work? In a range.
In the top, top 15 for sure. So yeah. 12 feels about right.
Would you agree somewhere between 10 and 15? He had a couple top 10 games, but as a whole, you'd say 11, 12, 13, 14, in that range. So I agree with where they kind of slot him in this. I also agree that his percentage to be a top 10 quarterback this year, to me, returning in this offense, now with added weapons, an upgrade at left tackle, all of his star players really coming back and on offense, and then replacing the wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, with the first-round pick that Kyle loves, and, just basing it off the previous year he hit. Now, you could go back the other year with Dante Pettis. They're 1 for 2. You feel pretty good about him being better, especially when you factor in that was his only ever time in his career playing a full season, that he should be better in 2020. And then when you look at the guys, there's a couple names on there, which I got pretty big red flags on. Rivers, who was, for the most part, atrocious last year. Now, a big reason was their offensive line was hideous, and he's going to the best offensive line in the league, which should help. And then Roethlisberger, who has played really well, I think, over the decade. Really, when you look at his numbers as he's gotten to his 30s, he did miss the entire season because as he tried to throw a normal pass, his elbow blew up, which I think puts into, for as much as we talk about Tom defining age, it's pretty nuts. Roethlisberger, to me, and I don't know where you stand on him, has aged like most of the guys we've always grown up on. Once they get 36, 37, 38, their body just breaks down normally. Like, it's when his elbow went out, like, that's a pretty normal. If you and I had been on our couch in 93 and some dude that was 37 starting quarterback in the NFL, like, that's what happens. Like, I view Roethlisberger as like a 1980s quarterback.
You mean Joe Montana, who had elbow issues, right?
Yeah. Do you feel comfortable? And the numbers would show you he'd only played 4 of the last 10 seasons. He's made it full season 4 times. How is Roethlisberger going to stay healthy?
I think
because he's a better player than Jimmy when healthy. No one will. I won't dispute that.
Yeah, once upon a time, but Jimmy should be like. To me, if I said who has the best chance of being a top 10 quarterback, Ben, Phillip, Dak, Jimmy, I'd say Jimmy. Like, I'd have Jimmy in the Roethlisberger spot. On now, again, this list is not an opinion-based list. They're doing math. This is statistics. I'm just saying they're all at 35%. I like Jimmy's chances of being top 10 much better than Ben's or Phillips, and I'd say I like it better than Dak's, and I do think it's close to Deshaun.
Let's nitpick, just go above up until Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson can be really good this year. Dak Prescott, new offensive coach. He's got a brand new head coach who, while he quote unquote isn't the play caller, give me a break. It's Mike McCarthy's offense. New weapons, no offseason. Could be a little more difficult than I think people think. Rivers, while he has a much better offensive line and he knows the system from Frank, They've obviously added different wrinkles. They're depending on a T.Y. Hilton, which is not really Rivers type wide receiver. Now, they did add Michael Pittman. He is a rookie, though. And there's a chance Rivers, a little like Roethlisberger, is just shot. Now, Rivers doesn't miss games. His physical ability, he just might not be that good anymore. Roethlisberger, the injuries. Here's the thing on Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson is a better player than Jimmy. He lost his wide receiver, which probably when his career ends will be the best wide receiver he'll ever play with. And that's, I mean, DeAndre might end up with in the Hall of Fame. He's depending on Brandon Cooks, who gets injured a lot. Fuller, speed demon, went on the field, awesome, injured a lot. And his new running back, which they traded for DeAndre Hopkins, David Johnson, injured now a lot. Like, they are depending that offense. Like, I think Deshaun Watson will be good, but you are dependent as a quarterback. Like, you can't just throw to Haberman and Middlecoff, right? Look at Carson Wentz last year. Toward the end, it was like, God, it was clear the eye test. Carson was playing well, but his numbers weren't like blowing. He was throwing to practice squad guys. Like, you are just, a little dependent on the guys you're playing with. And then Tom, like, we've all read the studies. PFF's broke it down. Carson Palmer's talked about this. The Bruce Arians offense and the Tom Brady historical offense they don't exactly parallel each other, right? So there is just a learning curve for a guy that's 43 years old, I think, still 42, whatever, and all these new weapons. I think it's just fair to say the guy 11 through 7, there are just legitimate question marks with them all. I'd say the least with Watson, just because he's an elite player in the prime of his career.
The least dependent, you would think, on things around him.
Yeah, can make shit happen.
August 3rd, by the way, for his 43rd birthday for Tom.
I mean, between Brady, Roethlisberger, and Rivers, like, I think it's fair to say you would be crazy if you go, I don't know exactly which one. There's a very good chance that one, if not two of them, could really show their age.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're old.
Odds are one of them plays 5 games this year.
And might be the swan song of his career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And the other one might just have a year where it's like, okay, bye. And then the third one's Brady. The other part of this is I do think that there is, and we did a video on the Shanahan bump, year 2 under Kyle Shanahan for quarterbacks. There is also this just thing that happens in the NFL, and they were talking about this in the article. Like, they think their numbers project Kyler's going to have a big year, that there just is a big year from year 1 to year 2. Doesn't always happen, but you project that for guys who had good rookie years. Jimmy is unique in that he's been in the league for 6 years. This is his 7th year now, but last year was by far and away the most football he's played as a pro, by far and away, right? And so I do think there is just some year 2, air quotes, if we pretend this is his sophomore year. I do think Jimmy's going to naturally get better there. I think he's going to naturally get better with Kyle. I don't know if people quite realize how long Jimmy Garoppolo's been on the 49ers. Like, he's been on the 49ers longer than he was on the Patriots now. Even though it feels like he was the Patriots' backup for 4, 5, 6 years, right? He was on the Patriots for 3 years. He's been on the 49ers for 3 years. This is his 4th year. Well, you know what? That math actually isn't right. It's 3.5 and now 3.5. So he'll pass him this year. But currently he's probably been a Patriot.
I think
longer.
Most people would be like, oh, Jimmy was on the Patriots like 7 years.
Yeah.
No. He was a
there.
Pick.
He was there 2 years and 6 games, and he's been a Niner 2 years and 5, 6 games, basically. So it's actually even. He's going to pass his time in New England this year, right?
Yeah.
So
I also think, like, when you bring up the Kyler Murrays, who I would say if you just went to the casual football fan, they'd be like, I can't wait to watch the Cardinals on offense. I'm going to draft some of their guys on fantasy. He should be good. We often see with young players, like, sometimes they just don't, or maybe they plateau for a year. We saw it last year with Baker Mayfield. You just never know. Like, the one thing with Jimmy, he's just been in the league a lot. It's pretty clear kind of what his baseline is, give or take, even those first 5 games, when he was injured the second year, what he is now. Like, if he just incrementally improves, like, it could be a pretty big step because he's already pretty solid, right? It's just, can he cut down the turnovers? Can become a little bit more of an explosive, consistent passer? Like, we know kind of his baseline. That's like Kyler, for example. It was a roller coaster. That was a rookie year where some of these guys, like, I think Dak, there's a lot more known on Dak, I believe, than Jimmy, right? He's been starting now for 4 straight years, every game. We've seen, like, kind of know what he is. Now, his good is solid, but it's not good as, like, God. Like, Jimmy's not good as really, he's throwing interceptions, which are terrible.
They are
right?
terrible.
And if, as Jameis would show you, if you throw interceptions in the second half of games, I would imagine if we had PFF do us a study, guy that throws second half picks, like what's the records for quarterbacks, right? Like turning the ball over. And Jimmy kind of avoided that for the most part, right? When you say like the majority of his interceptions did not come at inopportune times, right? They were able to overcome it. Like a lot of Jameis's picks came in the fourth quarter,
We just
tie
had a
games,
lot more of them too, so they're just bound to come in.
and a lot more of them. That I think Jimmy's upside, while it's not like I don't think he's going to be dramatically that different than he is now, but he's already in the top 12 fringe right now. So if he can just get to the top 7 or 8 with a good team, you're golden. And part of what makes Jimmy special is his contract. Like, to me, that factors in. Like, they're paying him less money than Tom Brady. Mahomes about to get paid. Deshaun Watson's about to get paid. They're going to make way more. Dak. They're going to make like that. I'm sorry, factors in. Like if Rivers,
provided he keeps getting better,
or just kind of doesn't even have to change that much. Can just float around the set. You feel pretty good. Like if Rivers is just where Jimmy is this year at $25 million, you feel pretty good. Same with Brady, makes $25 million. Once you pay Mahomes, and I feel good about this. If you're paying Mahomes $37 million, guy, I think under no circumstances can you have him not be a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league, right?
Yeah. You just rely on him so much. By the way, I got your face made me second guess myself, and you were right. So just to be clear and correct it, because 14, 15, 16, 3 years, half of 17 basically New England. So he's 3.5 years there. He's 2.5 years here. So I got giddy. He has not spent more time as a Niner than he did as a Patriot, but he will soon.
So you're saying by the end of the year,
because he spent half of 17 with
New
England too, right?
Played way more here.
Well, played way more here, but just I got excited
in the building. Looks on paper.
Exactly. You got to activate your brain sometimes. So I think he's an easy top 10 quarterback this year. Now, part of that is Kyle Shanahan's his coach. That's a part of it, right?
Now, can I end it with this? If I wanted to be glass half full, the upside right now to me for the top 5 quarterbacks is pretty wide open, right? I think we got a couple locks, it feels like, going into the season in Mahomes and Russell Wilson. Then they're just listen, Lamar's proven a lot, but like, can they just maintain that offense? Is Aaron Rodgers going the other way? Drew Brees, like, yeah, I mean, is he still an elite guy? Now his offense should be pretty good. Maybe not. Maybe it's more like top 7. I think that's kind of been consistent with the Roethlisbergers and the Bradys and the Rodgers. Like I do think we're kind of coming to a transitional period over these next 2 years. This list could look dramatically different in 2022 when we do this exercise.
I would say
right?
in 2021, if I said this time next year we're starting this list up, number 3, number 4, and number 5 could all not be on it.
Yes.
Now, I kind of think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good year, but
I'm not. To me, I get his numbers aren't quite as potent, but when you watch him, I still fear, and the talent's still there, that if you had to win a game, like would the 49ers next year take Aaron Rodgers or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Aaron.
Right. I mean, come on.
Not for the money. Not for the money.
LaFleur would be like, don't do it. He doesn't
listen.
Not
for the money. Yeah. Wait, you traded me and there's another LaFleur here?
Kyle's like, has he ever thrown 5 straight pick sixes in a practice? We've come a long way since that day in training camp.
We have. All right. On that note,
or remember the Denver Bronco preseason game wasn't pretty.
Not. I think we did a very emotional podcast that day.
Yeah.
So, in any event, let us know what you think about the projections